Hi Vishwa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Aston?
I'm very good. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you well. Yeah. How can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. Perfect. I just wanted to jump on this call to get a little bit into your background and obviously you're in property and what kind of deals you've done, and then go into the hotel space a little bit, as this what this series is about, and then what others can learn from you, and at the end. I asked the same question in every episode: how can people get into the hotel business? So we've got that to go into. But first of all, can I ask a little bit about yourself? What your background is in work, where you're from? Yeah, so let's start. Let's start there. What is your background? Could you give yourself a 30-second introduction?
Yes, 100%. So basically, as you know, that I'm an Indian, so I came from India, uh, coming to the UK as a student. So I've started my journey in the UK just after COVID as a student. So I've started to come to the Leicester University to study to pursue my master's in satellite data science. So I've finished my studies, and then I felt like looking at the market at that or the job market at that point was something was missing for me. So I felt like this is not something which I really deep in my heart I wanted it to do. So I was exploring to do some kind of business. I was not sure if property, but I didn't know anything about property, but I was looking to do some kind of business. So I worked with my cousin on his recruitment business for a while. So I worked with him for 1 year before I started to help the people who I recruited to get some accommodation. So technically, I was doing rent to rents without the knowledge of doing rent to HMOs. So that was something I used to do because of the recruitment business I was in. I used to recruit people from all over the place, and I'm the only point of contact for them. So I have to help them to find the accommodation, and it was really tricky and tough to get them accommodation because of various reasons. Because they are coming from abroad, because they don't have pay slips before that. They just have the offer letter, and it's kind of bit not easy process, I would say. So in order to help them out, really, as a part of my recruitment process. So we also took the properties on our company as a rent to HMO, and we started to rent out to them without making any profit. We just wanted to help them out. So that was the only. Sorry, there's a disturbance. Can you hear me?
No,
All right.
I've still got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I was helping them out to get their accommodation on a room by room basis in different HMOs, mostly predominantly in Watford. So we were spending a lot of time in viewing the properties, negotiating the rent and everything. And we were not really making any business out of the accommodation side of things. We
Mm.
were making money from the recruitment side of things, but from the coming from the accommodation side of things, no, not really. And as time passed by, because the contract was between us and the landlord, and we had like very basic contracts with the tenants, we did not have like strong contracts with the tenants. We only
Yeah, carry on.
sorry, sorry, Sten, can you? I can hear a lot of disturbance for some reason.
Sorry, I've got you. You're loud and clear there.
All right, sorry. So yeah, so as time passed by, and after 3 months or 6 months, the tenants, like our recruiters, our employees who came for work, they started to leave the property. So which put us in a tricky situation because we have these contracts with the landlords, and we have these tenants leaving after 3 months and 6 months, and it was not financially, we were not making any money. We were not treating it as a business and starting money because we tried to help them. So which was really, really tricky for us. And then I stumbled onto a few online courses on YouTube, went on to a different academy, and then I tried to learn about rent to HMOs and what is the compliance and everything. And then once we understand we can advertise it on Spaderoom, Open Rent, and different other platforms, then we started advertising on them. And then we made some profit because rather than losing some money, we made like £100, £150 profit for the whole property, which was still a lot low. And then once we finished the recruitment side of things, and then I went on to explore more about properties. So I went on to explore what is rent to HMO, did a course with some other person there, and then started to explore rent to service accommodation, started to explore into social housing and everything. And then, okay, I said like, okay, I don't want to do recruitment for whole of my life, and I don't want to work for someone else. And then I decided, okay, let's take a step back and then try to build something for myself. So the main issue for me was the cash flow, obviously. So I have to get that cash flow up and running. So I've got this rent to HMO experience before, and with the rent to HMO experience, I've gained more properties. So one property turned two, two property turned to three, and then I was filling all of those rooms in a rent to HMO model rather than rent to service accommodation model. Then moving forward after 1 year, then I realized, okay, rent to HMO is easy because once you get the tenants in and you have that
Yeah.
monthly same rent coming in, and you don't have to really do much. So I was kind of like felt like stuck in one place, and then I wanted to explore serviced accommodation. I tried serviced accommodation with a studio flat to begin with, and it was a lot of learning for me because I was doing everything wrong. I took the wrong property, I took the wrong location, I picked up the wrong price. So after 3 months, I realized, okay, this will not continue. So they have to do something for this. So after I still have that studio flat, but I've converted into a long-term let because of my rent to HMO experience. So yeah, I've learned so much through that one property on serviced accommodation. Then we moved on to properties which works in a good location, and we try to understand what is the guest market like. So are the
Yeah.
contractors or the tourists? So previously I did not have any of those plans, but now I know what kind of guests I have to market it to, what kind of properties they're looking, and
Okay.
I went like what the market demands. So then
Mm.
we scaled into properties in London, and we took more properties based in London and Harrow, Watford, Shepherd's Bush, and in
Right.
Bedford.
Wow.
So
So that's a lot to
yeah,
unpack there as well. Yeah. You've
yes.
got
So
you've now got properties in a lot of different locations.
yes, so it was really challenging when it is like few hours away from you. Like I live in
Mm.
Watford. Shepherd's Bush is like hour away if I
Oh.
drive. That's not bad, but Bedford is 2.5 hours away, sometimes depending on the traffic. So we try to introduce more technology, more AI,
Hmm.
more uh, like minimum work and maximum efficiency. We try to use
Yeah.
smart locks, we try to use channel managers, we try to use AI to systemize everything. So once we systemize everything, and then it came to a shape. And then I was seeing a lot of people taking hotels in different areas. So
Yeah.
especially in Blackpool. So
Yeah. That's
I
interesting. If you
just
don't mind, I'll
yeah.
go into a couple of those talking points before we get all the way to the hotel stuff, because it's interesting that you sort of fell into the rent to rent business without realizing it. Obviously, being from India yourself, you probably related a lot with other people coming from other countries, and providing that accommodation to them for no cost to yourself. That's very generous, and obviously going the extra mile to cater for your customers is a really good thing. Is that something that recommend to people?
Not really, because I was doing the recruitment business
Yeah.
because we were making some kind of money there, and we thought this is like just like a perk which will help them to come into the country and settle in rather than just staying in an Airbnb for a long time and then losing a lot of money. So we just
Well, I'm
wanted to
sure.
like help them out.
Yeah, it must open up the market to a lot of other people because now you're providing a service which is going further than most other recruitment companies would provide, right? So
Yeah.
it's like offering a package where you can't compare that directly to anything else on the market, which is very clever. But at the same time, I'm sure you learned that giving away too much can sometimes leave you hang out to dry if those people, if you don't have the right contracts in place and it's not profitable. So you must have learned a lot. Clearly you've got a lot of experience in this industry already. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been doing the rent to rent model, and when were you studying, and how long you've been in the UK, and how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I came to UK as a student in 2021, just after COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I finished my I've graduated in 2023 January.
Okay,
So
you're younger than me,
um
I think.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I started in
Yeah.
2016 and graduated 2020. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So but I did work in India for a while before came to the UK. So I've
Okay.
studied my bachelor's and then worked for a year in India and then came and done my master's. Yeah, and I've graduated in 2023 in January, and then I worked in McDonald's for 3 months, flipping
Mm-hmm.
burgers. And then after 3 months, and then I've started my recruitment. I've joined my cousin in recruitment business. So we did it for a year, and we technically started the rent to rent in
Mm.
2023 around June, July,
I can see the headline already.
sort of that.
From flipping burgers to multiple unit accommodation
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Yeah, sounds like a good story.
yes. So I would say from 2023 onwards, so it's nearly 3 years. I've been doing rent to HMOs.
Oh, 3 years in HMOs. Very good,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it wasn't profitable for the first how many years, and now you've
Um,
turned that into its own business. And are you still in recruitment? I'm always asking three questions at once, sorry. I hope that's all
that's all
right.
right. That's all right. So the rent to rent when we started was breaking even because we are not looking to make any profit out of
Yeah.
it. And then after 6 months, we started to make a loss because a room
Uh,
was empty and everything. And then when I've learned about rent to HMO model, then we started to advertise it and market it into different clientele,
right.
students and professionals. And then for 6 months, we were not really breaking even. That I would
When you
say,
learned
but
about that, sorry if I
yeah,
cut in, but when you
just
learned about that, was that just
just
you
about
had to learn from YouTube and things like that, or was that when you started investing in your education? How did that work? That
I
learning
did I did I
process?
did try YouTube, but there was a lot of missing things in YouTube.
Yeah.
So I went to HMO guy specialist. I don't know who he was at that point. I thought he was the only one person there, and
Okay.
then he gave me a basic understanding how to do into HMO.
Mm.
Then okay, after 6 months, we got into the recruitment business with the accommodation. Then I've learned it, and we started to cater for people on open rent and students and spare room for all the other people as well. So
Hmm.
for professionals and students basically. And 6 months were like a learning curve. We were not breaking even on. We did not have many HMOs. We had only three HMOs at that point, and we were not breaking even on the whole on three of them. So just under 3 months, or I would say just under 6 months, we we started to break even. And then once those
Mm.
contracts are finished, so we let go of all the properties. So because that one was through the recruitment business, it was not my personal one, because it was on the recruitment company's contract with with the landlords and the agents. So after the 1 year of contract has finished, so I have to let all of them go. And then I
Oh,
moved from because the recruitment business was only for a short temporary contract for me. It was only
yeah.
for 1 year. So and after 1 year, there's no recruitment business. It's all done. And
Mm.
then with that experience, I've started my own rental HMOs, because that's where I've already learned.
Yeah, so
So after that, it's been 2 years, 2.5 years nearly.
right, right. So just to catch everybody in, we've gone a lot through a lot of different terms here. So HMO is a house of multiple occupancy, and a rent to rent is when you take it on a property. It could be any residential property under a commercial let agreement and let it out to individuals where they pay the company, your company who's renting it, rather than direct to the landlord. Is that what you were doing in the early stages when you started out and you weren't really familiar? Were you using a company let agreement, or did you not know about that yet?
Yes, we were using a company-led agreement,
Okay, good.
but
Yeah.
it was not like the break clauses and were in there, because we
Right.
had
You
like
didn't
1 year
have.
agreement.
Yeah.
We
You
don't
didn't
have
have
the break
the
clause, and we
perfect setup of the contract because obviously
yeah,
you
and we
want to
paid three
have quite a
months
long term let with a break
advance.
clause. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we paid 3 months deposit, and we also
Oh
furnished
wow.
the property. These are the things which we didn't know at like once we started with the recruitment company. But after all of that is gone, with the new way, when I've started by myself, then I've negotiated with like zero deposit, 2 weeks rent free, and I do up the property for like painting and decorating, and I put the furniture in. So it was much uh, easier once I've started to do it by myself, because I know what are the terms to discuss and what are the pain points for the landlords, and why
Yeah.
I I am more beneficial to them rather than giving out to a group of strangers.
Mm.
So yeah, I was
And
focusing on how I can give value to the landlords and how the landlords would be beneficial having me in their properties.
that's an important part of it, isn't it? Because obviously, you and I know each other through the Samuel Leeds Academy, so you must have learned how
Yeah.
to make these more efficient, these agreements through that. Was that the case? You learned how to make these contracts beneficial to you, not only you, but also how you can provide more value to the landlord to be able to negotiate better terms for yourself.
Yes, yes. So I did do a bit of training elsewhere before joining
Yeah,
academy, but I would say Samuel Leeds Academy is the best, because I have learned only 10% before it, and now I have learned so much because of the experience and people who are already doing the property in the academy. Because I see a lot of community there, and I see a lot of people who are doing the same thing what I was doing in a much more effective and much more easier way. And the academy has really like increased my potential from here to here, I would say. And yeah, it's all about the people also who are in the academy.
yeah, brilliant. And talking about the people in the academy, I believe you're an inner circle leader at one of the North London inner circle
Yeah, North
groups.
London. Yeah.
North London Inner Circle. So, how long have you been Inner Circle leader, and how's that going? And has that given you any um, extra business and outreach? What's the benefits of being doing that?
100%. Yes, 100%. So we've started the North London Circle in October last year.
Oh, recently.
And the best, yeah, is quite recently. And the best thing is it put it put me sorry it puts me out of my comfort zone, and I am there every single month, and people see me every time they come in, and there is a sense of trust. And they see because I'm one of the leaders. And also coming to business wise, I'm more like freely approachable with all the
Yeah,
people who are coming to the inner circles. So I would say being an inner circle leader, it gave me a lot of exposure. And because I see a lot of people and they also see me at the like
yeah.
hosting the inner circle.
You also put out a lot on Instagram as well. You're very good with social media.
Yeah, yeah, marketing. Samuel asked me to do every day, so I just do it.
But you actually listened because a lot of people get told to market themselves every day on social media, but you actually follow through. So that's makes you stand out.
Yes, yes. The more you put your face out, the more people you see, the more people see you, and the more
Hmm.
people who wants to do business, they reach out. And interestingly, I've started my a new Instagram on the in the same language I speak Telugu.
Oh.
It's an Indian language,
Hmm.
and I don't know how many people have reached out to me, like asking me what I
Wow.
do. And yeah, I do have a lot of people. I do the same reel. I do the same reel in English, and I do the same thing in
That's
sentence
smart
in Telugu. It's like same, exactly same thing.
because then you've got a much wider audience, and I think that's probably
They want to work with you in the future, yeah, and then
yeah,
happy
that's
days.
probably a good advice for people to be able to reach out to people who are most have most in common with them. Obviously, because you can talk to a but much bigger audience than a lot of other people who only speak English. So that's smart.
Yeah.
And so, how have you then gone into the hotel business? Let's get into that a little bit.
Oh yeah. So because I've been doing rental HMOs for nearly 2 years and doing rental service accommodation for 1 year, and I wanted to like scale up and see what are the I was looking at block of deals, and I was looking at uh, block of apart in London. So this were they were really expensive, and I was looking people who are doing from the academy are doing hotels in Blackpool. So I
Yeah.
approached them, and I've learned what are the numbers, and the numbers were like crazy. And funny enough,
Why is
I
that?
came. Um, what do you mean? Sorry,
Why are the
the
numbers crazy in Blackpool? So a lot of people in our community have suddenly jumped on the Blackpool bandwagon, and I think some people are all for it, and some people don't understand it because Blackpool has a reputation for being a little bit of a derelict, dead holiday destination of people from the north. But what is
yeah,
it that
yeah.
attracts you, and why are the numbers good?
100%. Because what I feel is like when I've done my due diligence on Blackpool as a whole, what I really realized is everybody in Blackpool, like outside the academy, they're still doing all the things in an old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
And times have changed, and you have to really update yourself with the new technology and with the new rules and what your guest wants.
okay,
And academy is somewhere where you can learn all of those things, how to integrate your systems with AI, how to integrate your systems with channel managers, how to market your property right to the right guest. So I've studied on my guest clientele, and there is demand. If there is demand, definitely the supply is there, but not what the guest want. So if you can change a bit of few things there,
hmm,
then I see why not your hotel performs well. Because I know like there are around hundreds of hotels in Blackpool which are like not doing well.
yeah, there are a lot.
But
So you're
yeah, but
saying,
if you are in the academy, you've learned all the strategies how to
hmm,
advertise it to your right clientele. And as long as your clientele is happy, as long as your guest, who are your guests? Are they families? Are they contractors? Are they couples? Are they stag parties? Who are your clients? So if you can work on who your clients are, and if you can cater them what they need, then if you can make some good changes, make it nice for your property, there are still people out there who wants to spend that money and have a good. holiday or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So
So you're saying that there's a lot of competition in Blackpool, but a lot
mhm.
of people are doing it an old-fashioned way where they're running a very old, rundown hotel for one thing, but they're also a lot of people like the Airbnb style properties these days, and when you learn how to make an automated, systemized business, you can improve the business to the point that the numbers are really good compared with an old style B&B where it's got, I think a lot of these properties have owners accommodation because they'll be run by a live-in landlord and that kind of thing. But then I suppose you could rent out the live-in landlord space and hire staff. So you've got a hotel currently, I believe, and if I'm not wrong, potentially you're coming up to your second one. But let's look into your specific, how you're specifically running your business and what you're looking forward to doing now.
Yes, so I've got a hotel near the Pleasure Beach. So it's one of the biggest attractions in Blackpool. So Pleasure Beach is like we've got the biggest, longest roller coaster ride in the UK,
Oh
and
wow,
we
didn't know
got
that.
a water sports biggest indoor water sport in which is literally close to my hotel. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of surrounded with all the attractions near the Pleasure Beach, and my hotel is literally like around the big hotels in the area. We've got the bigger hotels, like big hotel chains,
yeah,
and and all the car parks always full. So
right.
that's where I found the demand is good in this area. And then
That's a good indicator.
recently,
The car
we
parks,
car parks are like always full. I can literally
right.
show you now if you.
Oh, are you in
I'm in my
Blackpool now?
hotel. Yeah, so that's I don't know if you can see it, but
You're
that's
on
the
blur
people
mode.
still. Sorry, I don't know. One second, let me change it. I'm in a hotel right now.
Oh wow, okay. So this is an interesting point. I was calling Blackpool Airfield because I'm potentially looking at offering a drone service
Mhm.
to all Academy members and everybody who's interested in drone recordings for their property or things like that. And
So I don't know how to
uh,
get rid of this blur, but I can see a lot of people who are moving around with because it's been a week. It's still in the mid. We are still in the middle of a week, and I can see like all the car parks in here are full,
right, a lot of
which
people
means
don't
there
appreciate
is
that.
demand.
There's so many different attractions to Blackpool. I was going through it with a investor not too long ago, and I didn't realize myself how many different things that there were going on. Obviously, there's the pleasure beach, there's the water park, there's the winter gardens, which is not in your location, but there's also Blackpool Ride the Lights festival coming up to the autumn. There's and I didn't realize this, but Blackpool apparently had the first electric street lighting in the world.
Oh wow, I didn't know
that's
that either.
that's why the Ride the Lights festival or the Ride the Lights event goes on because when they put the lights on in the autumn, it was the first time anybody had ever done that. So they all cycled along the road as the lights lit up.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's really good thing to know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. So how can somebody? I like to ask this question because there's maybe a few different kind of people who might be interested. But how can somebody, first of all, with no money and no property, get into the hotel business based on your experience?
Yeah, I think before you start anything, I would say educate yourself first, because if you know what you're doing, then everything else follows. So even the second hotel which I've got an offer accepted on, I'm using none of my own money. I'm using my investors' money on that. So I've got my offer
Hmm.
accepted on that, and then all the money is gonna put by my investor on that. So I would say, however you want to proceed, even with no money or no anything, educate yourself first. So I know it might be a good bags of money to invest in your education, but it's still worth it because you have to look it as a business way. So if you are putting some money for the education, how much you can learn from it, and also you have all the experiences from the other people who are already done it for a while. And yeah, so I would say the first step would be to learn it and understand how the market works and how to run the hotel, because you might take a hotel on, but if you don't know how to run it, then
Yeah.
there's no educate yourself first. And as like Samuel says, the first best investment is yourself. The property is the second one. So I would say to
Yeah, definitely.
educate yourself first.
And I want to try and
Yeah.
call this out for people who potentially they do have a lot of experience running a hotel, because a lot of people have been employees in hotels, but maybe they want to go into it themselves, and so they could potentially find an investment partner who can put the money in and they can run the hotel. But you also, there's going to be a lot you can learn from education of how to systemize a business and things like that, because there's one thing being able to run a hotel and there's one thing being able to run a business, because there's a lot of things that you might not anticipate. But you also pointed out that there's another way of getting into hotels. If you have the money and no experience, you can then invest in somebody who
You
does have
have
the
the
experience.
Yes. So you have to find that match. Basically, if you've got the money, if you don't know what to do with someone who has got the experience and who you can trust. Because if you're working with someone, make sure they know what they're doing, and make sure that
Mm,
you're happy working with them.
mm.
Because this hotel which I've taken on, the first one, is a JV with my cousin.
Yeah, joint venture.
When I was discussing the deal with him, we agreed on few terms, saying like, if everything goes wrong, would you be happy to have bread and butter for rest of your life or whatever, like for that period? And then I said like, I'll bring the bread, you bring the butter, and we're happy on that. And
Oh
we are in
wow.
like on the same boat. So it's not like doing business with somebody who you can't trust. Because he's my cousin, I have to,
Yeah.
because it's a family thing now, I have to be more cautious to make sure that all things go right.
Hmm.
And same way from him also, because we both are cousins. So he has to make sure that everything goes right, because it's a family thing now.
Yeah, is this the same
So
cousin you did the recruitment with?
yes, yeah, because we
Right.
had previous experience. So
So you've been working together a long time and you've done business
yeah,
together. That's important.
yeah,
Obviously, a joint venture isn't something you should just jump into with somebody you've never met before, because you're going to be tied in
no,
with that
yeah,
person. They're going to be investing potentially a lot of money, and you're going to be responsible for the whole project. Um, yeah, you have to have a good agreement put in place, and also trust that people are going to fulfill that agreement. Yeah.
yeah. And I have done many joint ventures with other people in the academy,
Oh,
like
you have.
not like a property one, but more like co-sourcing. It is also like a joint venture. So I've sourced few deals with academy members, and I always bring investors to the table, and my co-sourcers will always bring the deals to the table most of the time.
Oh, right.
And
So
I
you're good
make
at finding
sure,
investors.
yes, I'm good finding investors. So most of the time, if I before I even pass it to my investor, I stress test it much more than the mentors do, I would say. I would say
Okay.
mentors will give you a rate my date and everything. And after that, I will still go away and still do my own due diligence and try
Mm.
to go to that area in the night and see what's the area like,
Oh,
and
wow.
then only pass it to my investors, because my investors come to me because of my reputation. And
Right.
if I'm
So,
working with a joint venture or co-sourcer who is not giving me a good deal, and if I pass them on to my investor, then I'm gonna dig my own grave. That's not I don't want to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been bitten by that because when you're finding a property deal, you can pass it on to an investor, and maybe you can't do both of those jobs. One person can find the deal, one can find the investor, but you're finding the investor and then going to all the effort of vetting the deal again by actually going to the property. That must take a lot of work. So you're actually putting in more, but then you get the value of having the reputation of somebody who passes on good deals.
Absolutely, because I sold one deal to an investor,
Yeah.
and then he gave my contact to his friends
Right.
because that deal went right, and
Yeah.
because I had to put the extra effort. And now these other investors, they came to me asking for a similar deal, and
Oh,
yeah, I read those deals again, and they're happy now. So
and what sort
it's
of
like a
deals do you
snowballing.
source mostly?
Mostly rental serviced accommodation deals,
Mm.
and sometimes hotel deals. Hotels are very rare at the minute for me because I'm
Okay.
not going and looking into this. I'm looking for. I've got more investors because of that. I'm not going and finding deals by myself. So most of the deals come to me through core
Okay.
sources, and
Right.
I try to match them with my investors. So I sold rent to service accommodation deals mostly.
Perfect. So before we finish, because I think we only have a couple minutes, what's something that people need to talk about more in business, in this business, that we're not currently talking about?
Yeah, if you're starting a hotel business, I would say the first and foremost thing is not don't just sell a room, sell an experience.
Oh, okay.
Why
That's a good
would they
quote.
come? Yeah, why would they come and stay in your place for for a one night or 2 nights or 3 nights, leaving all the other hotels in the market?
Don't just sell a room, sell an experience.
Yes.
Vishwa
So
Ambala 2026.
yeah, sell an experience. Give them a nice warm greeting or welcome, or give them some recommendations. Give them some a paper copy of like what are the things to do, how you can make utilize of Blackpool, how you can be more valuable.
Yeah,
Sell them that experience so that once you once the guest is happy, they're gonna come back to you direct,
great.
and they will send their friends also.
Mm.
So it's
That's
like more
great,
like selling the
Vishwa.
experience.
Yeah, definitely. We have to do more, especially to compete in such a competitive market. But I think we're about
Mm.
to come to the end of our call. It's been really great to talk to you, and I look forward to what you do next. And I'm going to meet you in Blackpool next week, so
Come
I'm
down,
really
come
looking
down.
forward to that.
I'm here most of the week because until it's up and running, I'm gonna come and have a look at it, make sure
And
everything's going all right.
how can people get in contact with you?
Um, I can leave my Instagram handle with you, so
Yeah,
everybody can reach out to me on Instagram.
Instagram, absolutely. All right, Vishwa, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Justin. It was really good. I was so happy to speak with you about the hotel things. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure.